Hi everybody. I decided to create video tutorials for both recitation and lab activities, which should be helpful for students who are not able to attend the class and of course for the students who are attending Zoom meeting too. So first you need to go here and click on the link. I already opened it here. And all the information here should be used to answer the questions on the worksheet. For that purpose, you need to click next here and download Finch species worksheet on this page. I already opened that worksheet for you here, and make sure to complete all the answers here in these boxes. So you should be reading everything here. Also, there is information about the island itself, about the Daphne Major. This is the name of the island. You should be reading this part here. It's about the information is about the two species of finches that live on this specific island. Make sure also to look at the map of the island from the Google Maps. Make sure to zoom in on this map to look at the geography of the island. Also, you'll be reading about spectrograms. You need to learn what the spectrogram is. More about the bird songs. It's also you need to learn this information about the how the birds learning to sing. Pretty much all this information is being used to answer the question on this worksheet here. Also, you should obviously complete the activities here, but I will not go over it. You should be able to do it on your once you click get started. It will lead you to a page where you need to do the activities, and that's about all the basic information you need to complete the one recitation activity. Okay, now let's talk about the lab activities. For this week, you will be completing three graph activities. In first two activities, you will be interpreting data and doing some calculations on Excel, and on the third activity you will be actually creating your own graph. So let's look at the Finch graph number 1 activity. Here you're provided two graphs that represents the big depths for 50 medium ground fishes that survived the drought and didn't survive the drought. So you need to compare their parameters here. All the information provided in this box, and the questions are here. So you're free to complete the activity either as a text or in a text box, or create your own file like Word document or PDF and upload that document. And here's the rubrics that I will be using to grade your assignment. So pay particular attention to the mean value. Mean value is the same as the average. Standard deviation. Standard deviation is the value that shows how diverse they are for that specific trait. In this case, it will be the big depths. The higher the value, the more spread out the values are. For example, here, if you look at this both graphs, in this case, that finches that didn't survive the drought had a higher standard deviation value, which is 0.88, and the finches that survived the drought had a slightly lower standard deviation value, which is 0.84. So, which tells you in this particular case that diversity of uh, big depths kind of was reduced because of the deaths due to the drought. As you can see, the graph shrinked, so there is not that many finches with diverse peaks. As you can see, the smaller values, for example, seven, 7.5, which is the millimeters of the depths of the beak, are not represented in a group that survived. It already starts with the 8 millimeter. And yeah, that's about it for this first graph assignment. Okay, now let's talk about second graph activity. For that purpose, you need to download this Word document. I will open it here for you. So in this activity, you're provided with the data, the measurements of the peak depths, and what you need to do, you need to calculate the mean values and standard deviation for these values. In order to do the calculations, you actually want to transfer your table to Excel sheet. So make sure to highlight the entire box here, click copy, and go to Excel sheet. I already exported the table, but I will show you how to do that. So make sure not to paste that in one cell. So to make sure to create a big box and then click paste, and make sure to use the match destination formatting instead of just keep the source formatting. And this small notification will come out, but click yes. It's basically saying it's not matching the size, but press OK. So it should be fine. It can recognize it. So since I did some formatting here on my sheet here, so I'll use this data, but make sure to change it accordingly. So here we have the big depths measurements for both survivors and non-survivors. And as you can see here, it's a 5 bird sample and 15 bird sample for both groups, both survivors and non-survivors. So pay attention to that. So obviously you're not calculating the mean or standard deviation for bird ID number. You're just calculating the mean and standard deviation for the beak size, right? Beak depths. So for that purpose, in this cell, you will click equal sign and start typing average. Average and the mean is the same thing. So in Excel, it's the formula for mean value is represented as average. So after you click the average, make sure to select the cells that you want to calculate the average for. After that, you can click enter and the value will appear here, the average value. Same for the standard deviation. So again, you will click equal sign and start typing standard deviation. There are two type of standard deviation will appear. So one is for the population and one is for the sample. And since we have the sample, not the population, so make sure to use the standard deviation S. And again, select the same values and click enter. So you would do the same calculation for each column. If I didn't have this boxes with the mean values that interfere with my other columns, I could technically drag the values and it would calculate it, but obviously I don't want to do the mean values. I don't need to have the calculation for ID number. That's why I would not do it this way. So I would recommend doing it individually for each value. So that's how you will have the mean and standard deviation values for all four groups here. So once you generate the mean values for mean and standard deviation, you can actually fill in this boxes here for point 1 question. For point 2, it's asking you to input the values of mean values and standard deviation for 3 groups of samples. The 15 Finch sample and 5 Finch sample are here in this table, but 50 Finch sample, you would be surprised that why is it not shown here, but actually for that purpose you need to go back to the Finch graph 1 here that you should have done it previously, and for both surviving birds and non-surviving birds, the mean values and standard deviation is provided in this box. So you basically will just copy the information of the mean value and standard deviation for 50 Finch sample from these two graphs. So that's how you're going to complete the table for question number 2 here. The question number 3 and number 4, you should work it on your own. So you just basically, it's asking for you to interpret the data. So you should be interpreting that data on your own. Okay, let's move to the last assignment, Finch graph number 3. For that purpose, you need to go on this page and download the last worksheet here. I already opened it for you here. So it tells you to basically graph these two graphs for 2 sets of data manually, but we'll be doing that on an Excel sheet. So for that purpose, you want to copy and paste this data in table 3 into your Excel sheet. I will not show you how to do that because I showed that in my previous discussion of the previous assignment. So I will go to Excel sheet that has already data provided in this box that I previously copy and pasted here, and I already generated one of the graphs here. So I will be generating the second graph. The first graph represents the body mass means for non-survivors and survivors. Now I will demonstrate how to generate the second graph. For that purpose, you can click to any box, empty box, go to insert, pick the bar graph. For this purpose, we're generating the bar graph, and click the most simple 2D column graph. Now we have the empty box. Make sure to click on it so the options will appear. So it says select data, so make sure to select data and this box will appear. So as you can see, they're both vertical and horizontal axis data. So we actually will generate the legend series, and you probably already know from your previous assignment the legends series are basically our treatment groups. In our case, our treatment groups are the survivors and non-survivors, right? So for that purpose, I need to do it individually for each treatment. So make sure to click add, and in the box here you will select one of the treatments. In our case it will be non-survivors and the series name. As you can see, the name appears, right? So series name, and then you need to create the value. So make sure to delete the previously provided series value and select the mean. By the way, we always need to graph the mean. You never generate bar for standard deviation. Standard deviation, as you can see here on this graph that I already generated, it always appear as a error bar. So for that purpose, I will go back to non-survivors mean value and select it here. As you can see, the data, the value, the cell value will appear here, and then press OK. So first bar appear here, but then you need to add the second series. In this case, it's the survivors, right? So for the name, you will again select the survivor name. As you can see, the name appears there. And for the series values, again, make sure to delete what the value is provided there and select the mean value there and press OK. As you can see, two bars appear here. So for the horizontal category, you can click OK because it appears as 1 here. You don't want to have the 1. You will later add the name of the x-axis later. So for that purpose, just click space and press OK. And then you can press OK again. So now you have two bars, but you're missing other information there. So now we need to add the error bars or the standard deviation. So for that purpose, you will click on each bar individually and do that individually for each bar. So let's start with the non-survivor group, and for that purpose you will click on the plus sign here, that's the chart elements, and add some chart. By the way, you can always start adding the chart elements. So axis titles, you need to have the axis titles, both Y and X, and you will label it as I did label it here. Chart title also is important, so you need to have the chart title and legend. As you can see, since I already selected, it will create the non-survivors and survivors. It's basically the legend is here, and now you need to click the error bars. For the error bars, make sure to click in the more options. Go to this vertical error bar section here, click custom, and then specific value. When the you create the custom, it will generate generic error bar, which is incorrect. So you need to actually input the standard deviation that is provided here, right? For that purpose, you will clicking specific values, and in this box it says positive error values and negative error values. But since we don't have that, we have only one value, it's basically the range. You will delete the values in both boxes and basically add the same value twice. I know it's redundant, but that's how it's supposed to be done. And then press OK. As you can see, the error bar appeared for the non-survivor group, and you will do the same exact thing for the survivor. Again, go to error bar, click more options, go to custom, specific value, and again make sure to delete both values here provided, and again select the standard deviation value for survivors twice for each box, and then press OK. As you can see, both bars appear here. So for the access title, you wanna always, you need to always, it's very important, provide the units, right? For the y-axis, it's actually wing length, so make sure to copy and paste here. For x-axis, since we were doing the wing length and it's two bars representing both survivors and non-survivors, we will just put mean values again. Mean values to indicate what they're representing. And also for the chart title, by the way, you can be creative with the chart title. You can create your own or use the title I created. So that's how to generate these graphs, and make sure to copy and paste your graphs back into here. You can delete this grids here and insert your graphs into this Word document. And the other points, it's actually asking you to interpret the data. So you should do it on your own. And that's pretty much it for this week assignments. Thank you. Bye.